Good morning. My name is Teresa Kelch, and I'm going to present my final paper for you. I have decided to do my final paper on paralyzation. My table of contents will be I'll give you an overview of why I did this, the immersion, stats, interview, workplace importance, recommendations, conclusion. When I thought about doing this, I decided to do paralyzation, being that mainly paralyzation from waist down. I have quite a few acquaintances that are paralyzed from the waist down, and on a personal level, I wanted to learn more about this, but also as a leader, I wanted to know more. So, should anybody want to apply and become an employee of mine that is paralyzed, we can accommodate them appropriately. I decided to do the immersion for one day. I put myself in a wheelchair as if I was paralyzed from the waist down. It was a work day, and I work from home and I work from a computer all day long. So, in ways that did help me. I feel like the biggest struggles that I had were nobody was here during the day with me. I had to get myself up out of bed, get myself dressed, which is a real struggle. I have no upper arm strength. Being able to use the bathroom, learning with a smaller bathroom, how do you get up and out of the bathroom? Um, that was difficult. And also taking a bath at night. My husband had to really help me with that. One of the biggest things I realized through it all is that our house is not set up for it. If one of us was to get paralyzed, so we definitely would have to redo our entire house from the kitchen. Trying to get stuff out of the kitchen was super hard. We had to have a big tongue grabber. I also learned I'm one that likes to stand up throughout the day, and my back was really bothering me. So I definitely know you'd have to have physical therapy. So it was an eye opener, knowing how much your life would change dramatically over being paralyzed. I did some stats searches, regarding paralyzation and spinal cord injuries. Um, Spinal cord injuries, the article I did was more recent from 2019 era, yeah. Vehicular, which most of my acquaintances were from vehicular, uh, take up 39.3% of them. Falls came in at 31.8%, violence 13.5%, sports and recreation activities 8%, which includes one of my high school teachers that had become paralyzed from the waist down from a sledding accident. Medical and surgical reasons 4.1%, and then other reasons 3.1%. Average days in the hospital and then rehab afterwards. Back in the 70s was about 28 days in the hospital and 98 days in rehab. With advancements in technology and just knowledge, as of 2019, 11 days in the hospital and 31 days in rehab. So definite decrease in that area. Average age at the time of injury, I thought that was really interesting. 1970s, it was 29 years old, and as of 2018, was 43 years old at the time of the injury. I would not have guessed the age to go up. I would have thought maybe it would have went the opposite direction. When I decided to interview somebody, I interviewed Dale, who is somebody acquaintance that I know. He was in a motorcycle accident down south quite a few years ago. He laid in the ditch for about 2 days before somebody found him, and he thought he was going to die. The only thing that saved him was his jacket. It was cooler weather even for down south, but it was wintertime. And he said that's what saved him. He became paralyzed from the waist down. He was in the hospital in rehab. He was a single man. He ended up having to move to an apartment because he was in a 2-story house. And as we know, that is not very easy to do when you're paralyzed from the waist down. He said he did have to have a nurse come with him, 24-hour nurse for 8 months. And when he or she needed the day off, then family members would come and help. And then if they also would take him for an outing, then the nurse didn't have to be there. He said life now, he's self-sufficient. He still has to have somebody come in and help him clean once a week for the deep clean. But he said being single, he doesn't get messy that much. So he can do the day in and day out with the dishes and that, because his apartment that he moved to was set up for anybody with disabilities, so lower cabinets and that. So that's really helped him. Same with the bathroom. He is able to drive on his own. He has a car set up, so all the controls are on the hand. He definitely had to have therapy for strength, because he gets out of his wheelchair into his car, and then from there he lifts his wheelchair into his car and puts it on the side of him. Biggest challenges for him in the beginning, realizing that he was truly paralyzed. It didn't set in right away. A lot of issues with that, knowing that he had to relearn life as he knew it was not going to exist anymore. And it took some time for him to understand that. Now down the road, the biggest challenge again is not being able to do every single thing that his friends do. You can't just jump in the car and go do different things. You got to think about, is there handicapped accessibility for him? What are they going to be doing? So there are definitely daily struggles for him yet for that. Importance in the workplace and recommendations. I feel like as an employer, you really do need to adapt and have options available for somebody who is paralyzed, especially from the waist down if they want to come and work for you. In my setting, that wouldn't be a problem, even if they were on site. We work at a computer all day. So when I thought about my workplace, you need to have accommodations. You need to be able to have desks that are standing that are not standing, that are the right height for the wheelchair. Can they get under there? Having keyboard and mouse trays that could come to you and not be pushed further into the desk. Simplest things of the cafeteria, making sure cafeterias, that if there's anything for cabinets or refrigerators, counters, that they're all the right height. Bathrooms should already be handicapped accessible in a workplace, but if not, thinking about that. And most, I don't have it on the screen, but most do have elevators, but if you don't, do they have to go upstairs, or can they be on a first floor so they don't have to be? As a leader, it definitely, is an eye-opener on what do we need to do to adapt to someone, whether it's this type of disability or another disability. You really got to have a lot of options available. In conclusion, for me, it was definitely an eye-opener for me to spend a day in the life of that and see, emotionally, physically, how did I react? And it helps me understand how that would help others react. I would like to learn more about the psychological side of things. As a leader, that helps me understand, better in a workplace. But on a personal level, what struggles are they going through? Do they have PSTD from it? Anything that I can help my friends or my employees, it will be huge. So anything more that I can learn about this subject will be great. I hope you enjoyed this slide. There is a site down here. That's where I got a lot of my stats, actually all of my stats. So definitely a good read if you want to do anything continuing with that. Thank you and have a great day.